Part 2, total teardown on the Volvo Penta trim tilt unit. First thing we're going to do is remove this little pressure pad here, and we're going to use a vice grips and a rag to try not to groove this thing. Keep in mind there's a little locking tab here. When you reassemble it, you must punch this back down to lock it in place, otherwise you could actually lose this pressure pad. Alright, so I'll throw my rag over there, vice grips on. Then we're going to take this end cap off. All right, next we're going to spin it around and we'll take this top cone off. Before I do that though, if you do get grooves in this thing, which this one does have it, you have a sander, like a belt sander, you just put it on there, clean it up real good. Otherwise, if there's like big burrs or anything like that on there, it won't fit through the transom shield. We'll pull this off. Okay, there's nothing in there. If pieces fall all over the place, you don't need to worry about it, because when I put this back together, I'm not going to use grease, so you can see exactly what's going on. Then we just start pulling pieces out. Okay, first we got a spring. Then we got some ball bearings, or a bearing race. Angle on it. This is what we got so far. All right, next we're going to remove this clutch cone. Let's get this thing moving a little bit. Okay, so it started spinning out. You should be able to do this by hand. Sometimes you'll run into a problem where it won't want to come off the end because there's a little burr on here, and if that's the case, you might need to use a file to get that off. Otherwise, try and unscrew it. Okay, this one's good. Okay, then we're going to remove this brass wheel, if we can. There we go. Came right out. The teeth on here usually never go bad. It's usually in the worm gear. Okay, underneath that there should be another bearing. Alright. That's most of it. Okay, now we're going to press this shaft out and just push it straight down. Okay, if this don't slide straight out, just by pushing on it, I got it most of the way out. You can, oh boy, you can tap on it with a mallet to get it out. Paper in there. This probably won't want to come out too easy yet. So we'll just get a punch, put it in the center, and continue tapping it out. I guess we'll use a screwdriver. Right, there she is. And at this point, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean everything up. Okay, here's what we got so far. Now, inside this housing, there was a bearing race. That would be this. Okay, and you have a total of 4 of them because you have 2 sets of bearings. Now, these bearings suck. I hate these kind. And when you install them, the open part is down. So you'll have the metal part facing up. And sometimes, like this one for example, you turn it upside down, a bearing will fall out. You don't really have to worry about that. When you grease everything, the grease will actually hold it in. Now you could try and press this with a pliers together. That never seems to work. Then you end up with 2 loose instead of just 1. So Just keep that in mind. Okay, now I'm going to put this together in the order it comes. Okay, first I must mention, out of the 4 bearing races or keepers, there's one on top of the clutch cone. You don't really need to remove that. You can if you want. It's a little bit of a pain, but a pick should do it. Also on the bottom side of this brass tooth gear, there's one here too. This can remove, if they're cracked or anything, you might want to remove them. If they're not, this one seems to be fine. Just leave them in place. And now I'll put this together in the order it comes out of the housing. Alright, first you'll have the bottom bearing keeper. That goes down. Then, again, in a downward position, this would go on there. Next, you have your bottom bearing race again, and this goes on top of here. Alright, then your clutch cone. Okay, then once again, this greased up, this one's going to probably fall out. But this goes on here. Okay, then your other keeper. Then your spring. Okay, and that's all there is to it. When it comes to the shaft, this key will come out with the pliers. Just pull this little thing out. The only reason you'd ever want to do that is if you're going to spin it on a lathe, to maybe clean it up. Otherwise, you could just leave that in there, because you don't want that thing flying out of there either. The next step would be to pull out this worm gear again, but I might do it at a different location just for lighting. And this is kind of a pain to get out because there's a sleeve in there and everything, but we'll deal with that a little bit. Alright, hopefully the lighting in here is decent enough for you to see. Now we're going to remove this inner sleeve, and I actually had to make this tool. As you see, both sides used to be equal, but I had to grind this one down. And you've all seen these. It's just a little, screwdriver set, kind of all in one. But anyway, let's see if we can remove this. This is actually coming out pretty decent. This is almost out. You don't really want to grab on the end here with a pliers or anything, because you could actually bend this, and this is like a really close fit. Right, I got it most of the way, but you might have to drop something down in there. There's nothing to bite onto anymore, because it's actually, you see, it's almost out. So I'm going to drop like maybe a nut down in there or something, just so I can pry off with something a little taller. Right, this is skinny enough where it should be able to just drop it right down in there. Alright, let's see. Finally. Alright, that's the hardest part to remove. And there's a little clip down in there. We're going to try and get that out. This has to be perfectly smooth. There can't be any scratches. This is pretty hard to put back in too. Alright, continuing. Okay, I got one up. This clip remover is just being a pain. One's up, so I'm going to drag it around in a circle, pulling it out with a pick. Alright, we got the clip out. Now, we got to try and pull this out. You could try grabbing onto it with the pliers. That probably won't work. We might have to pry a little bit on here. Oh, you know what? Maybe this thing is loose enough where it'll come out. Oh, that's the first time I had one that come out this easy. Oh, we'll get a pliers. It is stuck a little bit. All right. All right, now that we got this little worm gear out, we can take a look at her. And if you ever have to replace this bearing, you could remove this clip here, and then the bearing would slide downward, and then you just reinstall a new one. But what we want to do is we want to take a look at these teeth and make sure none are super thin. I mean, these all look pretty much, they look worn, but there's still plenty of meat on the teeth where we can just put this thing back in. We don't have to worry about replacing it. I've seen them where they were like normal here and then it's super thin right here, right in the center. So that's showing a lot of wear. As far as the housing goes, if you look down in there, let's see if we can see it with a little bit better light. Okay, you'll see that shiny, it's like an insert, like a sleeve, insert sleeve or whatever. And I've never had to take one of those out. And from the looks of it, I never want to. And just this part sticks in there, so that shouldn't be an issue anyway. This housing is shot, so of course with the busted ear. So I'm gonna get a new housing ready, or an old housing that's good. I have two of them actually, so I'll be putting two of these together and we'll start assembling it then. All right, I got my donor base. This is a good one. And I might as well take you through the whole process of refurbishing these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wire wheel this edge, wire wheel all this, and wire wheel this, and try and catch the bottom here. I already cut off the paper gasket that was under here. Alright, as you see, she's pretty clean here, the upper lip, and of course the whole bottom. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my, my painter's cap on. I'll screw that down. I'm going to tape off this whole thing. And I'm going to tape around here. I'm going to plug all the orifices and put it in a sandblaster. She's all sandblasted. She looks pretty good. She's ready for paint. I blew her off real good. And now if you go online to order paint, it's not going to match. Even from a marine store. Not the old Volvo Penta paint for the, say, 270s through SP out dries. But this paint is actually the closest I can find to an original Volvo color, and it's Valspar's Ford Gray. This stuff works pretty good. The color is really close. There you go, 2 light coats, and she's set to dry. We might as well get the top ready too. What I usually do with these is if there's any marks from wrenches on here, because sometimes people used vice grips instead of the 1 1/4" wrench. I'll take a file and I'll clean this edge up, make sure it looks nice and new, and then what I'll do is I'll wire wheel the whole thing, and it actually makes it kind of shine. The only thing you have to remember if you're going to do that is take off this little rubber seal, even though you don't have to wire wheel anything above this. Here's an example of vice grip, guys. I'll cut the video right here as we're already over 10 minutes. And reassembly is just everything in reverse. So I guess I'll still do a part 3 of full assembly, and then part 4 will be straightening the shaft.